Rev up your engines! All right, people are always whining. Toyota Corollas are boring. They run forever. They sold tens of millions of them. Well, here's a Toyota Corolla Apex, a new one. Does it look boring? No, it doesn't, but it's raining outside, so let's bring it in. Now, Toyota's well aware that people think Corollas are boring cars. So, they made this Toyota Corolla Apex. It's still a Toyota Corolla and reliable. Look under the hood. Under the hood is a 2-liter inline 4 with the Toyota dynamic force system. There's the GDI high pressure pump. Now the economy Corolla's got a 1.8. I love them. They run forever. They get good gas mileage. But this thing gets 35 miles a gallon on a highway, so it gets pretty good gas mileage. It's not upped in power than any. It's the same basic system and transmission. What they did to make these fancy was not only what they look like. You'll notice it's lower than a normal Corolla. And it's got a beefed up suspension system. They handle like a dream, you'll see when you're driving around. Now the guy who owns this is single, and that's a big thing, because I know if I bought this car, my wife would kill me, because she'd say, I want the smooth ride. I don't want it handles great and rides rough. That's the only complaint she's got about her Matrix is, it runs like a charm, goes down the highway smooth when the highway's smooth. But when you get bumpy roads, it rides bumpy because it's got more of a race suspension as this does. If you're thinking about getting one of these, take my advice. Road test the regular one, see how it rides, then road test one of these. If you like the way this handles and rides, and you're single, buy it. But if you're married, let your wife drive it first, because she may say, I don't like the way that thing rides. This is made for people who want to drive not as smooth of a ride. So maybe you just like a really smooth ride, you're gonna not like it. Now, it's nowhere bad as one of those old Suzuki Jeeps. I had a customer had one of those Samurai Sidekick ones ages ago. He loved it. Oh, it's so much fun to drive around. Until he went from Houston to Miami and said, that thing rode like a washing machine, like a bucket. I'm selling it when I get back. I can't stand the thing. So, road test one. If you think about getting one, road test it. See if you like the ride or not, because it's a big difference. As you can see, it's a typical Toyota Corolla with an engine that uses the modern oil, uses GF6 oil so it lasts longer. Everything about this is Toyota Corolla reliability. This thing might go 300, 400, 500,000 miles. And as we open it up, first thing you're gonna notice, it's a lot more stylish. But it is a 4-door, and as you can see, there's still a lot of space in the back. Hey, if you want long life, get fabric seats. And as we start it up, turn the wipers off, we don't need them inside. You'll see it's got all the modern conveniences. There's a screen in here. And of course, it's got a nice backup camera so you can see all around. Much better than the earlier ones were. But yeah, it's got electric parking brake. They all have them these days. Can't do anything about that. The white and black and gray. It's got a really sharp interior. It's an old school car. It's got mechanical seats going back and forth, which I like because we got no stinking motor to go bad. They slide back and forth wherever you want, plenty of adjustments. It's just old school. Of course, it's got electric windows. I mean, it's not that old school. Being a Corolla, you put this baby in gear. Does it shake? No. It's extremely quiet. Of course, it can go a long way. This baby's still got 312 miles of range, even though it's only got 3/4 of a tank of gas left. Of course, it's modern. It's got all the controls on the steering column like most cars do these days. Now, a lot of people whine and say, I don't like the interior. It's kind of cheesy. Doesn't look cheesy to me, you know? It's a lot fancier than my old 81 Toyota Corolla I used to drive around in, you know? It's nice looking. I'm not whining about it. And if you notice down here, it's also got a sport mode. It's much zippier when you put it in sport mode, and you can also turn the traction control off if you want, and it tells you right here. And as we go to the trunk and pop it open, look at that. Maybe a little car. Well, man, it's got space. In this case, it's even got a machete. We don't know what that's for, but hey, he's prepared for anything. And really, when you look at the back, it's a snazzy car. I like the blacked out Toyota emblem and the seam. It's also got the black wheel, which unfortunately it hit a curb, but they're under warranty, so you're gonna get that fixed free. If you notice, it doesn't have a sunroof. You know what I say to that? Personally, I think sunroofs are the dumbest invention of mankind. What on earth do you need a sunroof for? In Houston, Texas, it's too hot. If you live where it rains, it rains. When they get old, they leak and water gets in the car and ruins the electronics. They're just plain stupid. You want a convertible, get a convertible. But sunroofs, to me, they're just plain stupid. And of course, your car's much more of a structure when you don't have a sunroof. If something did happen and you rolled over, it's going to do a lot better than a sunroof does sitting up there. It's just kind of a stupid thing. And people get carried away. Some cars have 2 of them. This doesn't have any, and it doesn't need them. Let's take it for a spin. Down she goes. Sounds exactly like my old Toyotas. They make that little boing sound. Notice when you put it in reverse, the parking brake turns itself off. I like that. First thing you notice, it's a pretty quiet car. Doesn't make much noise. Now it is lower to the ground, so you're not going to be flying over speed bumps with this baby. That's part of the handling package. The lower you get, the better the handle. Now we're going over the big lump here, but it's not dragging or anything. Now it automatically goes to eco mode, so the heck with that, we'll put it in sport mode. There, now it's in sport mode. It'll be more fun to drive. And as we go over the bumpy Rhode Island roads, we'll see what it's like. And here we are hitting the bumps. And not horrible, but not great. You're gonna feel the bumps because it's got the sportier suspension. Like I said, if you really want a smoother ride, you're gonna get a regular Corolla. You don't wanna buy the Apex. The Apex is for handling. And since it has the 2-liter engine instead of the smaller 1.8 Corolla engine, it's a bit zippier. Got some zip to it, a nice little acceleration. As you can slightly hear, it's got a little bit louder exhaust in it too. Makes a nice little roaring sound. But where it really comes into its own, that's steering and the suspension for handling. This thing is smooth. Now, it yelled at me because it has lane departure warning. I didn't put my turn signal on, and I changed lanes. So if you're a mad driver, you're gonna hear a lot of that as you change lanes without using your turn signal. But really, when you wanna go, step on the gas, it's got a good roar, and it's got nice responsive steering. But you will feel those bumps. Now, I personally like the handling myself. I drive motorcycles around too, but my wife, she didn't like this. She would want the smoother version. Just realize you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can have really tight steering and cornering, but it's going to be a little bit rougher ride. You want a really cushy ride? It's not going to be that strict in handling. It's going to have a little more play, a little more oversteer, understeer. This thing is a lot more fun to drive. So those of you who are a little lead-footed, you'd rather get one of these than a plain old Corolla any day. And it does have the CVT transmission with the fake shifts. It doesn't actually shift gear, but it's programmed kind of feel like it's shifting gears. And if you're a fanatic, you can use the paddle shifters. There's one. Up we go, up again. Works perfectly fine. Just realize it is a CVT transmission. This isn't a dual clutch transmission where you get nice aggressive shifting by pushing the buttons. This is just computer simulation. So it's not like driving a standard transmission car like you can in a dual clutch transmission. And I found with this in sport mode, it's pretty aggressive as it is the way that it does the fake shifts for more acceleration. And as we go back in, you can see no problem taking corners. I took my hand off the wheel. It centered itself perfectly fine. You notice here with me driving, the gas mileage rating went way down. As I said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can go zip, 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 but your gas mileage is gonna go down. Or if you want good gas mileage, you would turn off the sport mode like I just did. Now it's in eco mode and it will get better gas mileage. It's still got, you know, a little bit of a zip to it. It's a lot more fun to drive in sport though. So if you're wondering about the Toyota Apex, now you know what a Corolla can be. To be a bit zippier, look a lot snazzier. They're not super expensive. The man just bought it for $27K. And interesting enough, if he wanted to get a fancy Corolla, he would have had to wait forever. But they had these on this floor. He's having a lot of fun driving it around. And as you can see, it's a nice looking car. Zippier suspension system, and it's got the 2-liter instead of the 1.8-liter engine. So you can make a decision. Do you want a little snazzier Corolla because you think the other ones are all boring? Or you want to get a little bit better gas mileage and you want a little smoother ride? You could go for the fancier Corolla and wait longer. The people who are speed demons, they don't have to wait for these things. It's no longer a boring Corolla. I just know it's a Toyota Corolla. It'll probably last forever. Looks a lot better than the old ones did. Gets phenomenal gas mileage. Handles really nice. If you want the handling, I definitely would go for one of these. But my wife wouldn't like it. And I think I'll stick with her. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.